Hey everybody, I think we started on time. It's a miracle. Um, yeah, that was fun. I watched the little Facebook countdown thing this time. So every time gets a little easier, guys. If you're doing these in your groups and stuff, keep it up. So welcome. Today we're doing a little review of the 5 shifts that I put together. As I said in my little video yesterday, I updated my webinar and I just wanted to jump in here and share it with you. It has been a while since we've really talked about these 5 shifts. So like I said yesterday, I'll be sharing 5 things with you. I have my timer right here because I really don't want to take up more than about 35 minutes of your time. So I'm going to do that, and that way you know exactly what to expect and how much time to allot to this, and or watch it later, whatever you need to do. So these 5 shifts, as I said yesterday, this is more of a intro, kind of gets your head wrapped around the concept for those of you that are still wondering what it will sound like, look like, and feel like to step into this more authoritative position of thought leader, of expert, and all that comes with it. I know there's some of you on here that you've already watched this, and that's okay, because I find every time you do, you take away. There's people that have done my course too, I think, in here. So it's for everybody because there's always something to take away. So I'm just going to jump in, and what we're doing today is walking you through these slides. And it's not the most tech savvy, so you're just going to be gracious, and I'm going to pop in and out of here while I'm going through them. So this is originally called the Go-To Expert, 5 steps to claim your career as a subject matter expert. This is a little bit different than someone who's really experienced, a really busy entrepreneur that has a million things on the go and they can help everybody with everything, right? We're talking about something different. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started by jumping into the PowerPoint here and walking through the slides. So first things first, who this is for. I kind of want to shift your head into this place. This is for the busy entrepreneur or longtime consultant that has great ideas, but you are not getting recognized by your peers. No one's calling you from the media. No one's asking you for podcasts or events, and your industry doesn't know the great work you've done, and no one's thinking of you as this go-to person. This is also for working professionals who you feel you might even have a full-time job or doing something else, and you're ready to make the leap into thought leadership or into like your own personal branding, right? Ready for that next step, what comes next for you, whether that's speaking or what have you. If you want to build a more meaningful career and get paid as an in-demand leader, basically this is for you. So who else this is for, and this is already kind of going back a slide. You're going to learn on this talk in the next few minutes, or 25, 30 minutes, how to go from obscurity to authority. And it's just going to take months, not years of slogging it out and kind of that in the trenches mentality. You're going to learn about how to avoid churning out gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of content and posts, hoping you'll be noticed, hoping the right journalist will see it, and you be seen as relevant somehow with enough likes. That kind of mentality is old thinking. And it's possible to turn your passion project actually into a knowledge-based income, and you can get paid well for that specialty and for what you know. You're going to learn there's this secret to establishing yourself as this go-to source. And it's even if you don't have a huge following, guys. So I wouldn't get too hung up on that if you're there in your branding. Don't worry about it. You're going to learn about the old way of doing things that may be holding you back from exactly what people need today. And basically how to be so in demand for your knowledge and your skills that you'll be able to pick and choose events that have higher engagement. So I always use the example of and I'll use it later, of getting more Q&As on the events that you do attend. So basically my promise to you, as I already mentioned, is to take your time and really introduce you to these 5 shifts. We'll go through them one by one. And, I want you to also write down questions you might have at the end of the presentation. But no matter what, you're going to get something probably that you haven't heard before. So I want to just put you in this scenario for a second and see if this sounds like you, or maybe where you were a few months ago. To some days you wake up feeling just defeated, and before you even step in front of your desk, you're just, because you know there's just so much to do already. And it's this another day, another dollar type of feeling. Number two, do you avoid social media? Because everyone else is on there selling their courses and advice, and you feel like you're 10 steps behind. So what's the point? Three, are you tired of investing in these boot camps and workshops only to come out super motivated, but really like severely lacking any real action that actually gives you what you want or pushes you forward? Do you just constantly wish you could put everything else aside and just focus on what you love, but you're not sure it's anything worth building a career on, your life on, your future on? Number five, do you feel like you're getting lost in the noise of the industry and end up just pushing out the same old BS like everybody else? Six, are you secretly resentful as you've watched people with less knowledge and mediocre experience leap ahead of you onto stages or panels in the news, and you wonder, why isn't that me? And it boils down to, if you feel like you're meant for more, but no one really cares who you are. Like they just don't see the work you've already done. So I just want to let you know that that isn't the real problem. And I say this all the time. The real problem isn't any of those things. Those are just symptoms. Those are just like a symptom of a life that's not taken advantage of yet. The real problem is you just haven't made the shifts necessary to actually prepare, to actually make way for the next few things to come. So once you make these 5 shifts, and you can even take a checklist today and go, how good do I feel about number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm close to 3, but not quite at 2 yet. Once you make them, you'll notice that you're going to be on fire with your own messages, and you'll be open to a new world of these virtual events and media interviews, podcasts, basically anywhere you get a chance to gain the attention of your target audience. Once you wrap your head around these 5 things, people will actually have Q&A questions at the end of your events. Put your hand up if there's crickets after you speak somewhere. No one's asking questions. But this time it'll be because you actually delivered something different than what they've already heard. And they were so shaken or moved by what you just said that they're going to want to know where they can learn more. Like, trust me, it happens. You might need to upgrade your tech, because you're going to be invited to virtual panels and interviews, online industry events. These guys are going to expect to hear from someone that looks and sounds like an expert. So once you make them, you'll also be so confident in seeking out larger opportunities, right? They won't seem so scary. And you'll already have a price in mind, because you know exactly who you're speaking to, and you know how much your message is worth to the people in that room. And then lastly, you'll proudly be sharing online content of your own, right? And published articles, and it'll contain your quotes and your words and your insights. This is true, authentic content, guys, to post and repurpose on every single channel in multiple ways. Let me tell you. So you guys know who I am. I'm gonna bluff off because that's weird. There's 2 pictures of me. I just can't handle it. So I've been in 20 years of news media and communications. And branding. So that includes running my own PR agency for over a decade. So working in all these fields, I've been able to train and mentor hundreds of startups, CEOs, managers, entrepreneurs, small business owners, you name it. But the topics vary from personal branding to specific hardcore media training to crisis management and plans, reputation management, content strategy, and speaking. I've mentioned earlier, I've landed clients in top business industry and news outlets, blogs, podcasts, journals, television, and radio across the country. This includes panels and conferences. And what I do now is I help people frame their brand and their messages in a way that delivers top rate opportunities, earns them higher ticket sales, and helps them to stand out in their field. So that's my passion now, and that's what I do. I've turned it from I still do B2B, but I am really zoning in on the entrepreneurs that need help out there. So let's talk a little bit about discovering the 5 shifts. As I mentioned, the B2B and the B2C, I noticed there was clients that were really, really rocking this, and there was clients that just really needed help. And my job was to go out and put them out there as an expert, but often I'd be going right back to square one and basically, reprogramming their language, reprogramming how they position themselves. And I thought, man, I need to start at the beginning with people, because the careers and everything they could be doing could be 10 times more impactful. So I turned them into these 5 shifts, and it was the 5 shifts that achievers are doing that other people just aren't, or they haven't figured out yet. And guys, in this environment, you already know this, the old way of bash your head against the wall marketing won't work. You know that. But these keys are what you must do in order to kind of gain that confidence to command high fee opportunities. Yes, they still exist. These larger than life things that you wouldn't picture yourself doing 2 years ago, all these in-demand type of opportunities. And I'm going to walk you through them right now. All right. So shift number 1. Shift number 1 is let go of your ego. And this is a really interesting one, because we soon discover, we think that this whole sage from the stage mentality still applies. And it is, although the focus is a lot about you. A lot of what being a thought leader is how you frame things around others and how you frame things around different circumstances. So a few things that this is not about when you go to step into this expert space. It's not just about confidence. Confidence is not a substitute for substance, right? We all know people are done with the fluff, giving the straight goods. People demand more, clients demand better, and the industry knows the difference. That's very important. Some of these gatekeepers are industry-wide or associations, larger entities that you need to get in front of. And the second thing it's not about on this let go of getting out of your ego headspace is it just means it's not about you. This is about audience, guys. More often than not, thought leadership is about giving a voice to others. And you have to be very aware of not only how your audience has evolved, especially in the last 3 months, but what they're going to be needing from you and experts with your knowledge 3 months from now, a year from now. So giving a voice to others is the platform you're going to build your stuff on. Now, how great you are and how much you've done and how many case studies you have. Third thing, it's not about booking stages and in real life interviews anymore. These things are amazing, right? They happen as a result of the course and of all your hard work. They're not really the goal. They're kind of the means to get your message out there. So again, it's like a shift of thinking to prepare you for taking the next step. So basically, it's not about vanity. It's about strategy. The other thing it's not about is likes and followers. They are only going to move the needle so far. And I think we're understanding that in the last couple of years as well. And so if you're here for vanity metrics or more followers, it's kind of old thinking. You'll be spending your days in busyness going for that goal, and you'll be missing the mark of your message. And the last thing is it's not about being the smartest person in the room. A lot of people, and I've had Q&As about this as well, is, it's great, but pushing your message out there, your message is just, kind of putting blinders on. And I was able to counter with, well, actually, if you were an expert in what you said you were, you wouldn't be the smartest person in the room. And you can claim what you're great at, but then you can surround yourself with greatness. So it's like marketing. I know a heck of a lot about a heck of a lot, but I'm not going to claim expertise in any of them. So I have great discussions with other people who know more about that. And we can bat opinions back and forth. And that's what results in great interviews and better events and better Q&A. So being disruptive and reinventive is the point here. You don't have to be so loud with, my message. It's how you come across things. So if that kind of shifts your mind, make some notes about what you think about that. Here's the second shift. Write less and think more. And this is going to be hit home for some of you because a lot of you are still pushing out content in a constant fashion or getting really confused about what you should be putting out there and how often. People are confusing still consistency with constant. When I go to one of your feeds, when I go to your Instagram feed, I want to see a consistent, formless, seamless message and leading me to an understanding of who this person is and where their expertise lie. I don't need to be, people aren't on social media necessarily 24/7, so they won't catch your 10 posts a day. So why don't you combine a few of them, make better impact? When you feel that content overwhelm, guys, 90% of the time, if you're feeling that, it actually means you're devaluing your time and your expertise. Think about it. You have so much to do. You have so many ideas. I got to push, and then I'll feel good about my day. How many times have we done that? Whereas if I have one amazing interview with someone, or I have one beautiful blog post pulled together that just brought up three other great ideas that I'll get to, later, I'll work it into my message. That's much more of a productive day. So don't devalue your time by staying busy. Share your core ideas in a new way, not a new idea every 5 minutes. Now we're going to go through this concept of books. And if this takes pressure off of you, now during COVID, a lot of you are like, write the book, do the damn thing. I get it. And that's amazing. Like, believe me, to keep the train of momentum and the train of thought going, absolutely get those ideas on paper. But the book, again, is it really the means to an end, or is it part of the process? So for 80% of entrepreneurs, I'd say it's more about optics, than sharing their expertise. You've known this because you've picked up a book that a colleague or another business owner elsewhere in the country has written, and you're like, does not resonate at all for me, or I have heard this a kabillion times before, or that title is terrible, or whatever you're thinking, or you get through the first couple chapters and it stays in your drawer. It's because either you could have said that in a different way, or the title got you in, but then you opened the book and you were disappointed at all the content because it's the same stuff. So publishing a book does not make you an expert. And a lot of the time, maybe it's a marketing tool or an excuse for people to feel better about their careers or have that freebie to point to. I mean, I won't get into it too much, but just it's supposed to relieve some pressure. Here is a great way to think of it. Combat the noise, right? What you can't control is every day, guys, there is fresh new faces entering the market. No question, your competition is kind of growing daily, especially online. It's either a new author, a trainer, a health coach, a motivational speaker, but you won't push them out with content. You have to rise above with the right message. And by that, you are going to feel less stress, less worry, and less of that competition, that competitive pull down. And I'd much rather you spend 10 minutes on what's most important and take out everything else. And I hope already for some of you that just gets you to cut out like half of your calendar this week, maybe, or find out a way to consolidate. Because I will tell you, as for what I do, even in the news media realm, when it comes down to it, they need to know this much to make a choice. They need to know this much. And it's what you do in that time given that helps people make their decision about you off the bat. So back to the presentation. This is a case study. This is a really fantastic experience with a client we had, Tom Deans. He had a career in banking and had written a book about family business, okay, very general. He could speak banking services, he could speak estate planning, taxes, I mean, you name it, and small business, investment language was no problem for him. But we chose to focus on one core concept from his book of firing the kids from your business. And this one controversial, just packed with all kinds of good stuff. I mean, obviously there's more to it than that. But it started landing him articles and interviews in top business and news outlets, landing, conferences across the country. And Tom now speaks full-time on the international lecture circuit and has delivered, well over 500 keynotes. But the important thing is Tom bridged the gap going from this experienced, professional to thought leader. And it was because of what he did with that one message. He didn't have to give it all away. There were other methods to do that. He just came away with that one very important message. And that just reinforces the point that all you need, guys, is one core specialty, one good platform, and one good pitch. So that should make you recognize that you can stop, write less, and think more. All right, we're moving on. Secret weapon. Just checking in with timing here. Good. About 18 minutes left. This is a secret weapon, and there is more to unpack here. But I want you to figure out, if you had this superpower of how to skip the line and not take 3 to 5 years, take three to 5 months to do something that might take someone 3 to 5 years. It's knowing how to pitch yourself as an expert and going directly to the sources that can put you at the center of thought leadership. This is the power of the pitch. This is the kind of secret weapon that I'm talking about. People who strive for this, right? They often want expert gigs, but they're not framing their stuff in a way that is getting that emphatic yes. It's just the truth of it. It's empty email boxes, it's no replies, it's I will think about it, it's that kind of stuff. And yeah, you could say that that's just marketing, right? It's a numbers game. But what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't a numbers game? In my experience, it's a skill. And it's one that when you perfect, you're going to pass hundreds of others and earn authority in months, not years. So, as I said, more to unpack there, but it is, I'm telling you, it's not this, well, you got a 10% chance here and maybe you'll get heard back, maybe you won't. It's like, man, you are missing such a huge part of the point here, which is if you knew how to pitch yourself, you'd be getting the yeses. Now picture this. So a lot of you, this is a good example, a lot of you know of or even follow people that have really good ideas, like top-notch smarts. Geniuses, let's call them, scattered geniuses. I mean, I think we've all either worked with or had colleagues like this. And just a mile a minute, they on the outside, it's great. But when you go to really sit down with them or interview them, it's like, what are they trying to say? They don't understand how to frame themselves and pitch themselves. And all these things are just basically resulting in like, it's all right. I don't, people that don't know what to do with their information and very lackluster presentations. Or on the other hand, there's these idea robots, right? They're, oh my gosh, serial entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call them. And mile a minute of ideas. Oh my goodness. I can think of phone calls and the person mentioned about 6 different business ventures and wanting to do well in all of them. And they varied in industry from food service to robotics. Like it was crazy. And the problem there is you're not claiming space in any of these areas. You're not bolstering your knowledge and frankly, your education in any of these areas. You're not laying claim to any one industry insider. And so, there's a little eyeball roll there where I think the credibility suffers. And then again, lackluster performances. People are, signs of this include tuning out early, leaving interviews when you haven't, gotten to the few rounds of questions, or presentations you've given online and you look at the results and they drop off. People are going to know. So you need both, and there are hundreds of people in your specific industry, but I'm going to tell you there's a way, because they don't have your experience. They don't share your story. And I guarantee you they have no idea how to do this, which is pitch themselves. But there is, in fact, people looking for your expertise, and they need to fill their own content deadlines and programs today. So that's the good news is, you can skip the line and and you can do it. So you can do both is essentially it. Now, how are we doing? Good. Whew. I'm going to take a little look at the old way and then this new way that we're thinking of. I'm just going to go through it really quickly. I want to keep time, like I promised. That old way of, writing more in that constant barrage looks like blogging, LinkedIn articles, writing, output, push, those types of words. But all these old ways cost you. And what this method of the doing and the busyness is, it's about 3 to 5 years waiting for impact. Like, I know people that have said, I've been diligent and I've been posting, and finally, this editor saw my tweet and he asked me for an interview. And yes, that is a very organic way to reach your goals. Nothing wrong with that. You can do it faster. That's all I'm saying. So there's also a buzz factor here. And if this person's talking about the same things they were 3 to 5 years ago, then they're actually not being adaptable, and their expertise would be a little less relevant. So buzz, you're missing this buzz factor and the ability to frame your stuff on the fly based on what's happening right now. Another old way, the old way, let's say, of social media. It looks a lot of social media. It looks like virtual assistants and, ooh, I have 2 now. Look at me go, and hired some help. I'm filling feeds. Look at us go. And there's this busyness. But what's this costing you is definitely time. I mean, even if you don't hire anybody, it's definitely costing you money, because a lot of these posts, to get the reach, there's just no question you have to pay to play. Then you're losing control of the message as soon as you hand it off to someone else, unless you're very good at planning a year's worth of content. Kudos to you. Get your team on it. If you've done your key message plan and your content plan, killer. Like, go for it and get your whole team on board and talking the same talk. A lot of people, though, they're like, you know what you're doing. You seem trendy and young. Post what you think I should say. And what that gives you is you lost control of the message. And more importantly, they're engaging with your customers online more than you. And then therefore you've lost the conversation aspect. You're not truly understanding your customer because you've kind of cut off your ties to those things. I'm not saying you should never hire. Yes, there will be a time where you get busy enough. But it's a matter of knowing, no one should be able to pitch you better than you. That's the point. No one should be able to pitch you better than you, because once you know how to do that, yes, go and do other things, grow the business. Got it? The old way, this also could look like there's, this whole paid for media versus earned media. Earned is what I focus on in our agency. This looks like sponsored content, paid for articles. You might see like this content has been sponsored by. It just automatically tells the person that you paid to be there, so that they should take it with a grain of salt. That's it. Sometimes it's the only way to get in front of your target customer. So, I understand on launches and things like that. Advertorials are another example. It's really, you can say anything because you paid for it. But when it comes to that, you kind of lose this credibility of like, wow, they really earned their place. They were interesting enough to be interviewed. Someone asked them to be a part of this story. And this authority thing is lost a little bit. So that's kind of the old way. The new way, and again, what we're talking about is the step 3, the secret weapon, which is knowing how to pitch yourself. This is the expert pitch. So by knowing this, you're going to know your specialty or your niche. You're going to know the message. You'll have the language. You'll have the platform. So those 3 things are going to give you all these things: opportunities, a wider audience, or going directly to your audience. You have more content to share now, so you don't have to create, huge content plans every year and come up with a new funny meme or tweet every day. You're going to have actual authority because you're now speaking as the expert or being interviewed. You have credibility that comes with that, a wider following of people who are now going to follow you because of that opportunity, and then therefore exponential reach. It's not rocket science, but how to get there, like I said, it is a skill. It is a skill. It's not magic. It's just a skill to teach. It's steps to follow. All right. So at this point, we know, ditch the ego. You can write a whole lot less, and you can use this secret weapon. Just skip the line and go directly to those sources for those larger opportunities. Now we're going to break down the last 2 barriers that often stop people from getting there. and start putting a solid action plan into place. So for this next one, it's actually called Ditch the Tagline. And this is all about, again, it's a barrier, it's a mind shift. It's all about wrapping your head. Most people on this training today even won't make the jump into claiming their status as a subject matter expert. It's just, it's fine, but it just might not happen. They're going to have a tougher time gaining authority, gaining that confidence, gaining that, like, I need this person on my panel. I need to interview her. Like, wow, I've never heard that before. Or he's the first person that said it this way. This thought leadership style. This is because they can't let go of their current image and their old messaging. And I am telling you now, this is the time where shift needs to happen. It almost doesn't matter, you know, it's the timing of all this. It's just perfectly primed. And what's happening is, when you go through this process of like ditching your old stuff, I want you to picture this giant bowl, and on top of it is this huge sieve, like a metal sieve. It's like you throw everything in there and sand falls through. But in this case, only the best of your ideas fall through, and your expertise, and it's your degrees and the education you've worked for, the books that you've either written or read. It's all your skills, all your success stories, even the ones back in grade school. Sometimes, for goodness sakes, it's like your clients, everything you know that has made up of you. This ends up in this bowl, and this you shake it around a bit, and more than 80% of the time, you can uncover something new that you haven't been paying attention to. And it's something exactly you. So it feels like you, it feels authentic. You put it on, it feels great, but it's new. And honestly, the market is looking for new, and audiences want new. That's such a hard thing to wrap your head around. I mean, is anything new these days? When's the last time you heard of a new idea? It's about reaching people in a new way. So being willing to ditch what's been done, challenging yourself to be eyes wide open, that's a hard thing to do, guys. But if you end up going there and retallying all your stuff, go deep on that stuff. And the question that comes out of the exercise, the only question that you need on this shift, is truly, how can I be more relevant? Some of your old stuff ends up in there. Great, keep it. But I think relevant is really forcing some people to abandon what they knew in their hearts was true and is no longer true. I'm sharing with you now a case study. Super happy to do this, as she allowed me to. Kelly, and she might be here. Kelly was working full-time in education and very busy, 2 kids, but wanted to speak into women's lives in a more meaningful way. But how exactly, right? What is it going to look like? So in our first week of working together, the process actually revealed more for Kelly than expected, and she was confronted to include her own life story in order to become the expert people needed. So again, to become the expert she knew she needed, she was avoiding, had to really sit with the concept, get some words around it that she was comfortable with, to say, yes, this is what's been missing. So instead of a generalist approach, you know, to well-being and women's health and wellness and coaching, which we all know is a very difficult space to dominate, Kelly refocused, and she spoke to now a very highly specific but underserviced group of people, and it's family members living alongside addiction. It's so great. Something that she knew in her heart, a journey she also went through on her own, in her own journey with addiction, and was not sure if she had to speak to that. And it turns out when she discovered it, there was nothing else she could do. She had to go there. So this is fun because the second slide just kind of takes a snapshot from, I think at this point I had 1 phone conversation and then like maybe started the week 1 modules with her. She just says in an email, can I just say I've accomplished more in 1 day, heck, 1 phone call with you than I have all year trying to figure this out on my own. Thank you, thank you. So thank you, Kelly. And she's now the founder of Finding Freedom, the Finding Freedom program, and Unstoppable Families, doing what she loves. And I am so happy to help her grow that and keep going. The last is invest in mentoring. Perfect. We've got like 4 minutes left. This is perfect. What this means, guys, I just had to share this kind of thing of the dangers of go it alone. Now, some people will try to implement all of these steps alone, but I just want you to understand what we're doing here. What I've been doing the whole time and talking about, it's not how to do Facebook ads or how to do, launch a webinar. I'm not talking about one thing specifically. I'm actually talking about delivering a different outcome. And what I'm also speaking to is like your new life, like your new career. So thinking it can be done with like a weekend gurus workshop or something, or I went down to Texas and took this seminar, I'm good. Okay, thinking it can be done maybe on the cheap or for free. A lot of people think like, you know what, I just need help. If I did have the social media planning chart done, I'd be rocking, it's it. Or thinking it can be done alone, or that your groups will help you build it. My Facebook, they got my back. My LinkedIn groups, I've got a tribe, man. They help me. Any question I have, they're there for you. Guess what? They're trying to do the same thing. So they'll be there for you, but they're dealing with their own stuff. So remember, trying to become someone, an expert that is actually paid as an expert without using the proper support or training is crazy, guys. You will miss opportunities. You could actually burn relationships, which I'll talk to briefly, and you'll spend money in the wrong steps, on the wrong places. That's it. Really quick story of burning relationships. I've actually known people and worked with companies that have tried to level up their authority, right? Do it on their own. I want to play in the big leagues. I'm ready. But they failed miserably. It results either they come back hat in hand, or they've destroyed their credibility and some of our hard-earned work in one fell swoop. So we had a very broad example. There was a high-end home manufacturer. They had very strong competition. They wanted to gain this national credibility. We secured an opportunity with a top industry journal. It would have been highly visible, highly credible, secured many other not only opportunities but contracts. The client declined our help and submitted their own pitch and their own version of what they thought this publication wanted, but the editor denied the article, and took them off their expert list for future opportunities. So that was, we didn't do a tally, but it was a lot of, it was just a long line of kind of burnt bridges there. I've personally, myself, I've invested tens of thousands in mentoring or courses every time I needed to level up in my career. So sometimes it's my business, sometimes it's an income increase, a mindset thing, more knowledge. Like, we're experts, we have to constantly upgrade our knowledge. But who do I hire or purchase from? I hire experts. That's who I take it from, right? Experts that one day you're going to be, the people that do exactly what I need best. And it feels great. So imagine doing it with someone, having a plan, how great it can feel. Now you have the right steps to follow. You've got real-time support, and you've got a true outcome. So that means a person to guide you or push you through, and you've actually got an outcome, because this is not theory. What I do with clients is not, it's not theory. It's a true outcome that you're now set on a different path and echelon, and you'll be taking different steps in your career, which is what people want. So yeah, basically now you guys have a choice. I am done because we have covered everything. Yeah, in 35, my alarm went off, but it's possible to go from obscurity to authority, right? I'm just going to wrap up real quick. That's what we covered today. You don't have to spend years in content hell. People have turned their passion into knowledge-based income, so getting paid for your smarts. How you can establish yourself as a go-to source in your field, even if no one knows who you are today. Don't get hung up on that. We've covered what it takes to make the leap and what you have to leave behind and ditch, and be willing to be eyes wide open. We've learned there are high authority sources who need your content and your expertise today. They're everywhere. And It is possible to be so in demand for your knowledge that you'll be able to pick and choose your events and your pricing and your clients. You'll have so much more confidence around these things. So what you need to win, I just threw it up on the screen. Let go of ego, write less, think more, skip the line, ditch the tagline, and invest in mentoring. These could also be let go of ego, like, consider your audience. Write less is find your niche, get focused. Skip the line is know how to pitch. Ditch the tagline, take a new approach. And invest in mentoring, get help. That's it. And if those are a few of those stumbling blocks or hurdles you haven't done yet, then that's great. But these shifts alone are enough to propel you into this new career and a level of income that you can get as a subject matter expert. So you now have a choice, right? Continue to wait for things to get back to normal and continue to hang on to that last couple clients. They'll get you through, or I'm just going to think about this and I'm going to hang on here. Or you can actually make a step. And if you feel that you've done the work, here's how I can help. I've set aside openings from today, let me check, till Friday. So 72 hours, I said, yeah. That is to speak to you personally. I think I have 2 calls on Friday and that's it. The rest is open, about how you can apply these ideas to your business starting today. So whatever your biggest challenges are, guys, I promise you I've heard it and I've seen it. So this is totally free call and there is no cost whatsoever. We're going to talk timing, right? How you get to work, or how we work to get your game plan together to start hitting your goals for the rest of 2020. So for example, when is it the right time to start approaching larger venues and conferences? When should I start this process? How long will it take? So that you can start actually making goals and setting goals. We're going to discover a lot. We're going to uncover what might be blocking you, what you've tried, reasons it didn't work, things like that. And then it's going to reveal a lot. So there may be opportunities you have now, yes, during COVID, that you are actually missing out on. So I promise it's the most transformational call that you will have during quarantine downtime, full stop. And I've been doing these calls since it started. And I'm very happy that not only to have worked with some of those people, but to set them on the right path, like actually have gratitude for offering some value and setting them a little on the right course during this. So it's great. It's a win-win. So who is it for? If you have deep knowledge or personal experience in helping solve this problem, if you've been through this yourself and are ready to help people, if you're already a professional in this, but you just need to take it on your own, in your own way, that's it. 2, you must have a burning desire to reach more people with your message. It's really important. Doesn't matter if you know what your mission or your vision is. We cover all that. That's not even on the call. Doesn't matter. 3, you just have to be committed to the dream of having a paid career finally as an authority, and be seen and treated and paid as an expert. So you're done with the old way. If you're done with the old way, this is for you. And I'm happy to do that. So I am doing this because, as you know, in this group all the time, I believe the world needs stronger voices and stronger leaders now. So it's actually an opportunity to cut out the fluff and go ahead and focus on what you're really good at, because there's people that need that. I know there's people with great ideas, but you're just shy of reaching your potential. It's the other reason I do this. And if that's you, you just have to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Book a call. And if there's a fit for both of us, that's great. But if not, that's totally fine too. I'm going to put the book a call, I think it's this way, the book a call link right here. So, or you just go through my website and up on the top it says book a call. So limited spaces. So like I said, I have an offer between now and Friday for anyone who takes advantage of this. And so go ahead and book that in now. And I'll know that you've watched the webinar and we'll chat about that on the phone. So I'll know what to tell you when we're on the phone. That is it, guys. I'm 44 minutes. I'm out. Thank you so much for tuning in. 5 shifts into thought leadership. Let me know in the comments if it's something you hadn't heard before, or if something stuck out to you a lot, or if you have more questions on anything. I'll leave you there, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you soon.